Hey everybody, so let's get into the second video for the Global 9 review for the final exam videos. For this one, this will be a pretty quick one. I'm just going to go through the four ancient river valley civilizations that we left off with at the end of the last video. So on the map here, you notice how we've got Egypt, we've got Mesopotamia, we've got the Indus River Valley, and we've got China. Okay, so let's very briefly go through a couple of things about each of those. So your ancient river valley civilizations. The first one, Egypt, formed along the Nile River. All right, the Nile really was the lifeblood of Egyptian civilization. Hieroglyphics, their ancient picture writing, is one of the aspects of their culture and civilization they're best known for. And they were known also for massive architecture. The pyramids, remember, these were tombs. They were not used necessarily for religious ceremonies like the ziggurats were in Mesopotamia. They were tombs to bury the pharaohs, their all-powerful emperors. Then you have Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia was formed along the Tigris and Euphrates River. It would be in what today is Iraq. And they also had writing. This was, again, a picture-based writing system called cuneiform. And one of the aspects of ancient Mesopotamia that is best known for was the Code of Hammurabi. Hammurabi was an ancient king of Babylon, and the Code of Hammurabi is very noteworthy because it was the first written set of law codes. All right, writing laws down is very, very important and makes it much more universal in its application. And Hammurabi, being the king, was the judge and jury and sometimes even executioner all rolled into one. And the punishments for this could be very harsh, as exemplified by the famous saying from it, an eye for an eye. It was based on the idea of retribution, that somebody does something wrong to you, you get to do something wrong to them. Because eye for an eye was literally something part of it, that if somebody were to damage you, that you could damage them back. All right. Now, China. Chinese civilization formed along the Huanghe, also known as the Yellow River, and China had some geographic advantages in that it was isolated from other civilizations by natural barriers. You look to the north, you've got the Gobi Desert, you've got the Himalayan mountains to the west and the south, and then you've got the Pacific coastline. So when China was able to kind of use that to its advantage of keeping some contact and trade with the outside world, but always on its own terms, it was very, very difficult to invade China as outside forces. But we'll talk more about China later. Now, some common features among all of these ancient river valley civilizations. As I said, obviously they all form among river valleys. Rivers allow for trade, they allow for transportation, but most importantly, they allow for irrigation. They allow for water for the crops. Flooding was actually a necessary component of this. You liked a little bit of flooding. Too much flooding could be dangerous. The Huanghe, the Yellow River, was also known as the River of Sorrows because it would flood very dramatically at times, but they were totally dependent on it. Same with the Nile River. The Nile took on an almost godlike quality among Egyptian civilization because the people were completely dependent on the river providing life for the local crops. All of these were polytheistic. Polytheistic, see the poly there, meaning they believed in many gods. And they worked with traditional economic systems. Traditional economic systems means almost entirely agriculture with a little bit of middle class made up of merchants and craftsmen. But for the most part, everybody was farmers, and the vast majority of the population were poor peasants. So you did have some trade involved in there and what we call subsistence agriculture, meaning that they farmed just enough to support themselves. Okay, so as I said, this would be a quick one. I just wanted to go over some basics for these river valley civilizations. And in the next video, we're going to be talking about classical civilizations.